Good morning all. Lovely to be here. Had a quick check. I wasn't wearing my pajamas. It still looks like a Zoom room. Let me introduce you to a couple of my colleagues. Hopefully they won't heckle me from here. Raj and John from Axerve. Really pleased to be gold sponsors of the Leaders Summit, and it's really nice to be here as well. David has just left the room, but I just wanted to say his B story is legendary. So if this is the first time you've heard it, you'll hear it again, no doubt. But, and also thank you to the Leaders Summit for having us here. David referenced challenges and evolution. Evolution in payments needs to continue. It needs to keep pushing. And that's where Axerve comes in. And that's something we want to talk about today, which is the payment orchestration element, which is about giving merchants a choice. A little background about myself. I've been in fintech, as I define it, for about 21 years now. I was with a company called Calyxo, which is now PXP, and Soldo, which is one of the leading business expense management systems. Been with Axerve now for a few years. When we talk about choice, we talk about customers having choice. We want customers to have a choice. They can have a choice on how they get products delivered, the best pricing, the service. They can choose discounts. But merchants tend to have a limited range of choice when it comes to payments. They get an acquirer, they get a processor, they get some alternative payments, and they're kind of stuck with them. This is where Axerve is coming in now and saying we want to change that status quo somewhat. But a little bit about Axerve, if I may. Axerve is part of a bank in Italy called Banca Sella. The bank was established in 1886. In 1997, we completed our first e-commerce transaction. And in 2021, we built a product called Orchestration, which is giving merchants a choice to do better with their payment service. And it took us about 135 years to get here. So when we talk about innovation and evolution, I think we can personify that in our business orchestration product. So when we talk about legacy systems and things that restrict environments to develop, we certainly have embraced that and are evolving off the back of that. But a little bit about our proposition. Axerve is a full-service gateway with a number of services and solutions that allow merchants to build component parts from what we offer, and it enables us to be a solution for all, as we're not an all or nothing proposition. We have one-click payments, we have multi-currency solutions, recurring payments, the things that merchants are looking for these days. Here are a number of brands that we work with currently. As I've mentioned, we're an Italian proposition, entering the UK marketplace with an established portfolio of merchants already. You'll recognize some global brands there, Save the Children, Valentino, Giorgio Armani, to name just a few. So very established retail presence in Italy, across the globe as well, supporting merchants. So in terms of understanding merchants and what they need, we've evolved. We've evolved with what they want to do and how they are operating in their own markets. But to enable that to happen, we understand the need to bring other partners into the mix. Some of these partners are actually our competition. So if you look at Braintree or Stripe or Adyen, one would say that they're your competition. But to enable the choice for merchants to succeed and for merchants to offer a variety of solutions in their marketplace, we have acknowledged that we need to work with that marketplace and understand the competition in the space is something that helps the merchant. And that's what we've done. So these are some of the partners that we're working with right now. Onto payment orchestration. Payment orchestration in itself is giving choices to help customize payment journeys, help merchants and their customers to understand the journey they need to go on to enable them to make a purchase. For at the end of the day, the opening slide was the customer has a lot of choices. So let's support them with their choices so that they actually benefit you going forward. What we have as our payment orchestration are some of these items here, as you can see. It is oriented around optimizing your payment flow, optimizing your acceptance, so your ratios are going through the roof. But you don't want to spend too much money bringing a customer to the marketplace. only to be unable to service them at the end point. And that's what we've identified that is crucial to increasing your return on investment that you put in to acquiring customers. In terms of having contemporary technology, APIs, full integration suites are crucial. And that allows us to give the merchants that one element that they can engage with that gives them a range of services, as we've mentioned before. So here we have some elements showing about payment acceptance. So you've chosen a PSP, it could be Stripe or Adyen in this case. A PSP fails. If there's anybody from Stripe in the room, I apologize. Sorry, anybody from Adyen in the room, I apologize. But what we're saying there is never let a transaction fail. So what we are providing merchants is the ability to have failovers, alternative routes for transactions, allowing you to route transactions to places where you know that there's going to be a greater acceptance level for that transaction. And then ultimately, as point 3 on this slide shows, broadening your landscape altogether. David talked about in his opening piece around the immediacy that customers want things now. Buy now, pay later, for example, is just that. So being able to integrate with buy now, pay later providers. Klarna is clearly the market leader in that, but there are so many others that have just gone through a funding round and have got products right now ready to go. Axerve will be engaging with those partners in order to provide that to those merchants who have customers who have a demand for that product or a desire to use those products. How do we make it happen? Well, it's artificial intelligence. Having the intelligence in the back office to know that a transaction is better routed down that avenue other than that one means that we can advise customers to get a least resistance to their successful decision. By having proprietary software, which Axerve has, and its own technology, using decision-making algorithms, which are fully customizable, by the way, so it's not a one-size-fits-all. If you want something to do something in a particular way, or you have transaction thresholds that want to operate in a certain way, or you have fraud parameters that you know from different regions, also taking on board our own fraud parameters, we'll tailor those for you. So we want you to focus on what is really important to you as a business, which is getting that transaction in and getting it through and being successful. All you want is for your customers to pay. I'm sure that's correct. But you need to give them what they need in the first place. So we want you to enhance your proposition to drive increased conversions and limit your own exposure to fraud and chargebacks. So that's on like Visa and MasterCard, the chargeback element clearly. But by being able to control your exposure, you have a far greater propensity to get a successful transaction. And that's what our payment orchestration solution will do. And that's what we believe the market will move towards in terms of choice and options for merchants. When we talk about a single point of access, we don't want you to be hamstrung with multiple logins and access points that restrict you in your operations. We talk about least resistance, there's inertia to move. Well, of course there's inertia to move. It becomes more complex, more awkward to operate a platform. Well, you're not likely to do that. What we're saying is you can have a myriad of services in the back office. You have one single login, one dashboard, one element, and the next point you have is you're configuring a solution that allows your transaction to have the greatest chance of being successful, which gives you total control. And then you are in charge of what you want to achieve in your platform. We also need to give some love to the finance department, often overlooked by certain parts of the business. But reconciliation and understanding the ability to control your reporting is crucial. You need to have the information where you need it. You need to have the information in the format you want, but you need to have ultimate accessibility. By being accessible, by having the data accessible, what you're actually allowing yourself to do is tune into a greater level of success on your transaction. But moreover, you can actually keep your payment processing partners in check as well. So that's quite important. It's a two-way street. Of course, we know everything, and we know everything about your business, and we do it really wonderfully well. That's what the label should say. But you need to have control on what you're doing. and being able to reconcile across all your range of services in an accurate way, in a single dashboard, is going to benefit you and allow you to challenge your processor to increase their service proposition for you as well, I'd say. Yeah, I think I wrote a dashing dashboard, so sorry about that. Then you got the phrase lies, damn lies, statistics. But from a point around dashboard, being able to access things in a clear, cohesive way, coherent way, I beg your pardon, is crucial. We need to make sure that your merchant has a fully functional interface by which you're able to configure things, optimize solutions, speak to your provider, come into the dashboard and edit what you need for that moment. We all know that last year was an atrocious year. We're still not clear of that, really. But what that did enhance was e-commerce, for example. And through e-commerce, people are exhausting the markets they're working in, so they're looking to go into different international geographies. Well, knowing your customer in those territories, understanding what they want, what they need from a perspective of payments is crucial. You may have the most wonderful product set that is ideal for an agnostic marketplace, but unless you understand that in certain markets, certain payments have a greater success ratio, you will find that you're bringing the horse to water only to find that he's not interested. Having a dashboard that allows you to create the perfect transaction route is going to be ideal to yourself. Here we see a couple of examples of where we've, and I'm sorry this might sound like a sales pitch and apologies if it is, but this is where Axerve has helped a number of merchants in the marketplace. In our example one, you've seen that there are a number of providers that have been brought in, which ultimately increases the acceptance rate. In example number two, you've got reduced costs, and which generates a better profitability. So ultimately, increased acceptance, reduced costs, one could say almost a perfect storm. All supported by having an orchestration model which allows a team of people within a merchant's environment to work with their processor, such as Axerve, and tune their system. Here we have a few more examples where we've helped merchants. So example number one, we've helped them save costs. Example number two, a range of payment methods aligned with their customer needs, really crucial to increase their transaction acceptance. Example three, great acceptance levels by limiting the number of declines. Number four, payment options where transactions were successful. Number five, something that we're quite happy with, have more options, have more acquirers, have more gateways, increase the opportunity for you to get that transaction successful. So again, we can see that with someone like a payment orchestration provider like ourselves, you're able to cherry pick what you need to enhance your service. So for instance, we've got a transaction guarantee solution where we will guarantee a transaction from chargeback, subject to specific criteria. Use solutions like that to mitigate and minimize your exposure to fraud. I just want to give you an example of one of our merchants that we've got in Italy. Kiko is a leading cosmetics retailer, and they've used our one-click solution, for example, and that has actually had a material impact on them, and that's increased their transaction by 9%, which is significant. And they've done that by enhancing their checkout experience for their customers. It may seem, for a lot of people in this room, most probably all of us, we all use e-commerce on a daily basis. Amazon is a crucial one. Their one-click solution is awesome. But there's a lot of merchants out there that don't use that because they don't have that service provided to them by their provider. Cherry-pick elements from your providers to give you the best option. I just want to talk a little bit about ourselves, a little bit, if I may. In Italy, we've got 38% of the e-commerce market. We've processed last year over 61 million transactions. And that's essentially me done. But I'd just like to present you with our little promo video. Hope you don't mind it. So our strapline is your partner to grow. What we do is we quickly understand what you're trying to achieve, and we do our best to do that. Thank you very much. We're on hand for some questions. If David's got some, no doubt he has.
Oh, questions? Yes, I've got one straight away. You talked a lot about, well, picking up on what the PSR said here in terms of the competition side. You talked about a lot of the payments and stuff. I didn't hear much around PSIP payments and how you're handling that. And because obviously that's part, most retailers these days, competition we're talking about here, how are you handling that?
That's a work in progress, to be honest. At the moment, that's a work in progress, David.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'm just looking at my notepad here to see if we've got any questions for Alpesh coming up on this. I'm not seeing any coming up. So if we haven't, I will let Alpesh get off stage and we have a panel session on. Alpesh, thank you very much, sir.
No, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.